Awesome. Hi, everyone. I am inviting my friend Maria to join this Instagram live here. And she and I are going to talk about this a bit about what she's doing and how we can all support Ukraine. Hey, Maria.
Hello, everyone. It's very nice to be with you guys. I hope I can be useful for you today.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm really glad for our friendship and that you're willing to do this in this really stressful time and take the emotional labor that goes into the stressful situation and put it into this. So thank you so much for being willing to talk. So before we get started, I just want everyone to learn a little bit about you. So maybe you can tell us where you lived in Ukraine, where you are right now, and kind of your background, and how you came to learn so much about this crisis, obviously not just from being a Ukrainian, but also from your studies.
Thank you, Kevin. So I am originally from Dnipro, Ukraine, which is central city, a big city. 1 million people are living in Dnipro. 5 years ago, I moved to Krakow, Poland, to study international relations and international conflicts in particular, because since the age of 15, I saw in my own eyes what does it mean to live in a war zone, because since 2014, Russia occupied Crimea and started to attack us. We experienced Russian aggression in Donbass and other regions nearby. And as a people from Dnipro, we were always there to support the army. We were always there to support the military hospitals. So, of course, when I moved to Krakow, I wanted to study why things are happening, how we can help. So this is a little bit about me, guys.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, so tell me, let's start back in 2014. Tell me a little bit about how this situation right now connects to how people were feeling and doing, 8 years ago now, when that invasion of Crimea started.
So these things are interconnected. To start with, when people tell me I am so surprised that Putin attacked, I tell, you're surprised because you're not aware what has been happening for over than 8 years. So 8 years ago, Russia attacked us, and they have been doing these attacks for 8 years straight. A lot of Ukrainian soldiers and Ukrainian civilians have been dying. So what is happening right now is directly connected to what started 8 years ago. And this full attack obviously is much harsher right now because it's coming from a lot of different sides, not just from Donbass area, for example. But these things are directly connected to each other. In my own personal opinion, this is how Putin would make the country weak. So when he would attack like he attacked 2 days ago, the country would just be prepared for him to take it over.
Yeah, tell us a little bit more about the geography of where the attacks are coming from. It's not just from the east this time, like you mentioned.
Yes, it's not just from the east, but it's from Belarusian border. Kiev is now under attack. It's now also Western Ukraine under attack, like Lviv and Chernobyl. Right now, I get notifications each and every second that people please go to bomb shelter in Lviv right now, for example, or people go to bomb shelter in Vinnytsia right now. It's also coming from the Black Sea side, obviously, even though some of our allies like Turkey trying to block Russian military ships, but it's coming from all of the sides in all of the major cities in Ukraine.
And just to help folks understand, are these all Russian soldiers who are attacking, or are
Yes,
soldiers?
absolutely. And some of them are Belarusian soldiers from Belarusian side. And as we know about the events that happened in Belarus recently, this is army owned by dictator and president who is now helping Putin to invade and attack Ukraine.
Okay, thank you. Tell us a little bit about what it felt like when you first realized that something was wrong. You woke up and maybe you're getting news notifications or you hear something. Tell us about those very first moments a few days ago.
So of course we all heard or saw the interview of Putin that he gave, but till the last second I wasn't sure if he's serious and if he's gonna attack, because he has been provoking us verbally for a lot of years, spreading propaganda and misinformation about Ukraine. So when I saw this interview, I was like, okay, one more propaganda interview, nothing interesting. But then 2 days ago, I woke up and my father texted me that the city is getting bombed, that we lived in, and the airport of my city is getting bombed. This is when I understood that this is not what I expected it to be, and this is going to be a very harsh situation for Ukraine right now.
Thanks. And for those folks who have just joined us, this is my friend Mariia. She lives in Dnipro, Ukraine, but right now she's sheltering in Poland. And she's kindly agreed to tell us about the situation in Ukraine and kind of the historical, social, political reasons that it's happening. So again, thank you, Mariia. I want to talk a little bit about how this situation compares to previous Ukrainian-Russian relations. So can you tell us about the sort of geopolitical history of Ukraine and Russia as independent countries, also as part of the Soviet Union at one point, and then how that has led up to what we're seeing today?
That's a great question, because usually right now with this big amounts of information, usually I see photos, for example, when people post people with Ukrainian Russian flag or hugging, for example, or yes, we just want peace for both Ukrainians and Russians. But usually people who post this, they're not aware of the historical background of these two countries. Even though ethnically I am not Ukrainian, but my family has been in Ukraine for a long time, and the history is not very nice, honestly. Russia has been discriminating Ukraine, killing Ukrainian poets, killing Ukrainian soldiers, Ukrainians in general, eliminating culture, taking over the language for years, for centuries now. So when the conflict started in 2014, my father was actually not surprised at all, because since I was a little child, he would always tell me there will be a moment when Russia attack again, because even in the Soviet Union, Ukrainian language and culture was persecuted, discriminated, and basically they were eliminating Ukrainian culture and people for a lot of years. Nothing that is happening right now is surprising for me.
Okay, and so these relationships between Ukraine and Russia, it sounds like there's some propaganda that's happening on the Russian side that Putin and his folks are propagating. What can you tell us about other ways that the Russian media is sort of shaping the narrative in that country?
So I try not to watch what Russians say or post, because I would just get crazy. It's very hard emotionally, and I'm just a human by the end of the day. But from what I hear, it's made up reality that's Russia trying to prove to the world, like Ukraine doesn't exist, or Ukrainians need protection, Russian-speaking Ukrainians need protection. And just to give you guys a brief example, I'm coming from a city that is full of Russian-speaking people. 90% of these people are Russian-speaking. And these people hate Russia. They have been hating Russia for a long time now. So none of the Russian-speaking Ukrainians need any kind of protection. Moreover, they would go out there, and even though they're civilians, they would just go and protect their land. So this Russian reality that Putin is trying to create is misleading. For example, let's take one of his quotes from the interview that Lenin created Ukraine, which is not true. And anyone who knows English at least can go and Google and understand that this is not only true, but this is just funny. When we heard this interview, we were laughing because it's just ridiculous information. Person who would even go on Wikipedia can find out that this is ridiculous information. So whenever we're talking about Russian propaganda, we're not even talking about some, smart ways to twist history or something like this, but it is more ridiculous in the way, because people who know basics of Ukrainian history, Ukrainian culture and language would be just laughing. No one would take it seriously.
Why is it that if this is so obvious, how is it that Putin can get away with it? Especially to his own Russian people, to whom that would probably be the biggest insult, right? Is like, if you're telling people who have lived through the Soviet Union and who know some of this history things that are just not true, how is it possible that he can get away with this?
That's a great question. So we have a lot of relatives in Russia, and friends that might not be friends anymore in Russia as well. And through them, I can kind of analyze why are they thinking in this way. And this is heavy propaganda that dates back to Soviet Union when, as far as we know, was pretty successful for a long amount of time. It's TV, it's schools where history is being portrayed in this way. It's creating this reality where people actually are going to kill for this truth. They truly believe that they're doing a good thing. So one of this example is one of my very close friends. She's Russian. And when Russia started to attack and bomb Ukraine, she went on a protest and she called her dad, who's in Russia, and she told, hey, what are you doing? What is going on? Of course, she was full of anger. When her dad just told her, we're protecting Ukraine. And he was deadly serious. He wasn't like, I'm not sure what's going on. No, he was like, we are protecting Ukraine and Russian-speaking people of Ukraine. This is a peaceful operation, he said. And then they blocked each other. These people couldn't talk anymore. There was nothing to talk. This is brainwashing propaganda that has been going on for a long amount of years with this Russian brotherhood, for example, that Ukraine is a small brother of Russia and that we have to be together. It's all politicians who are trying to make us enemies. It's not people. We are brothers and love each other, one piece. And all this kind of, I would say, little things, they just keep on going for years and years and years. And then they just, sitting down in people's heads and people trying to actually believe in it and tell it to their kids, and they believe in it too. Obviously, in Russia, we have a lot of propaganda like, don't listen to Western news. America is trying to, make us enemies, which is, of course, for me, it's ridiculous. But for people who truly believe that there's an enemy out there trying to break them and their identity that was built up for years, they feel like it's a personal attack on them. They feel like I'm not just telling them that they're doing something wrong, but the whole existence of theirs is evil. So, of course, naturally, people oppose this because it's like a big tree with very old roots. It's almost impossible to go to a regular Russian person right now and tell, hey, you should think differently, because this is how my father was thinking and his grandfather, and this propaganda has been going on for a couple of centuries now.
Okay. For those folks who joined recently in the last few minutes, my name is Kevin. I'm interviewing Mariia, one of my friends in Dnipro, Ukraine. Right now she's sheltering in Poland, but she has lived through the 2014 Crimean crisis. She went on to study the Russian-Ukrainian crisis in university and is now volunteering with a Polish refugee agency to help Ukrainians who have been displaced by the current war. So Mariia, you sort of started talking about the reactions of Ukrainians, but I'm wondering if you can go deeper into that and tell us, like, what is the average Ukrainian person thinking right now? I don't know if I'm sure you've spoken to quite a few folks, but can you tell us a little bit about what everyone's thinking? It sounded like you mentioned earlier that some people were expecting something, but they didn't know the extent to which Putin would actually hold if they didn't know the extent to which Putin would actually do what he said. So I'm wondering if you can talk about that reaction of people and whether they're actually surprised by what's happening.
It's actually pretty interesting with people's reaction, because since 2014, people actually divided into different camps. There are pretty patriotic / radical people who would say, for example, no to Russian singers, no to Russian language, no to any Russian person because they all are a potential threat. To people who are like mild, yes, Russia is an aggressor, but I can listen to some Russian singer, that's fine. Or people who would just ignore it. And after Russia attacked Ukraine, everyone from all of the camps was posting the same: Russia is aggressor, we need your help, we don't need any Russia, we don't need any protection. People united, people who hated the president because we had a big division between two presidents when Zelensky was actually running versus Poroshenko. All of these people united. All these people are like, yes, let's just, we need to unite. There's no other way. So there's no actually any big divisions right now. All people follow the same agenda. Russia is aggressor. We need help from NATO. We need help from the EU. We need to ban Russia. We need to basically destroy it as much as possible economically as we can. Keep donating, keep reposting. Everyone is donating for the army. No one has any doubts from people that I know, of course.